I'm creating this video to kind of prove to certain people that the witch farm was not made in creative. All of this was done before I got my PC, so it was all on my school laptop and I didn't have room to video the entire thing. So here are a lot of screenshots. So at the beginning, I first discovered the witch hut and then I set a boundary around it that I thought was enough, but I guess it turns out later that it wasn't. Second thing I had to do was drain the water. That was a bit of a painstaking process, but important for the end goal. This is because I would be using RaiseWorks design for a TNT duplicator. What it does is it goes back and forth duplicating TNT and obliterating almost everything. I'm gonna call this whole place the Industrial District. As you can see, I knew to surround the whole place with obsidian so that the obsidian doesn't get broken and I don't know what the boundary of the farm is. The reason I took on this project is because I saw Mumbo Jumbo do it on one of his Hermitcraft episodes, so I was like, I really want to do this. I don't condone any type of item duplication glitch except for TNT duplication, because it's really cool and it's used for a specific purpose. As you can see here, it does go back and forth and duplicates TNT and obliterates most of everything until bedrock. Yes, I know the video quality of this video isn't that great because I was just screen recording on my school laptop. The funny thing is that it took me the longest time to get the machine to work. There were so many issues, I built it backwards, I didn't even know how, and then yeah, eventually it started working and I was so happy. I kind of just AFK'd there for a while as I waited for the machine to do its job. As you can see in this screenshot, I started the building of the contraption right away. I finished it and then I moved right on to start manually mining out the corners. I think I needed more wood, so I started a tree farm and had some little design thing, and then that was the inspiration for what ended up being the pathway along my entire premise. I think I recall deciding to do this because of appearance, or it was because of keeping mobs away, I don't remember. Building this was actually very time consuming because we had to manually smelt all of the smooth stone because we didn't have a super smelter back then. Oh, I see, we started the tree farm so we could finish the first layer of the weird mural thing we have. And then eventually, after a lot of work, we did end up getting the pathway done. It was pretty difficult actually. After finishing the pathway, we set right back to work on mining out the corners and the sides of the whole perimeter. I think in total we mined about 3 double chests full of obsidian because there was tons of lava, so we had to convert it into obsidian so we could break it. Funny thing is, the original plan was actually to cover the entire floor in glowstone because it's non-spawnable because it provides light, and I thought it would look pretty nice, but eventually I did decide on glass because you could see through it and you could see that all the stone has been removed. I removed a lot of stone manually. In this screenshot, you can see that we amassed a ton of obsidian. It was like 3 times more than that. It was very useful though for building the castle things afterward. That screenshot there was the last bit that we had to mine before it was finished. And then here we actually made a storage system before we ended up progressing more. We had a bunch of chests scattered on the floor of the whole build, so I was like, you know what, I'll just do a sorter system so it's much easier to store all the items and have a massive storage system so we never run out of space. Mid building that, we ran out of iron for hoppers, so I actually built an iron farm which is outdated now. And then I connected up a nether portal to another portal in my main base, which was the start of the nether highway. I had to construct another super smelter here for the district because there were tons of items that needed to be smelted for the whole build. After that, I decided to make a guardian farm, so I was sidetracked again, and with the resources from the guardian farm, I was able to make the nether highway more efficient and official looking. We ended up running out of cobblestone, so we had to make a cobblestone farm which was made by Ilmango. The funny thing is that I made the cobblestone farm before I even finished the guardian farm, but then I ended up finishing the guardian farm and then putting the other side on the cobblestone farm. I think the main reason I built the guardian farm was not for the resources, but actually for the XP, because it helped with the mending, because I could mend all my tools and armor very easily. After that, I made the AFK fish farm, which is now outdated as of 1.16 plus, and then I made this crafting place where I can enchant, craft, smelt, all that kind of stuff, which was very useful. And then I started on the desert layer after I did the aqua layer, which used resources from the aforementioned guardian farm. And then I went out to the ice spikes biome for the purpose of getting ice, so I could make an ice layer. It's modeled after some kind of Arctic village type thing with all the spruce trees and each individual house. I got the majority of the snow from this makeshift snowmaker thing where you shovel the snow that's under snow golems. It's pretty simple. That layer was one of the longest ones to complete because we had to manually mine the snow for forever. And then next we did the nether layer, which actually didn't take too long. After that, to get to the end, we made a nether portal system to the end portal so we could get resources from the end pretty quickly, which was very useful in the long run. The obsidian outline is to represent like the pillars when you go to the end, and that didn't take too long to place because we already had tons of obsidian, but we actually had to destroy several of these end cities for the purpose of getting all the purpur blocks or whatever they're called and end rods. That was technically the last official layer because it was the end, ha 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 ha. But then right after that we went to the desert and mined tons of sand because we needed tons of sand to smelt, and in order to do that I had to design a super smelter, which took a long time. Actually, like a very long time. I actually made a tutorial video about that specific one, and then I made an updated guide recently that took me like 100 hours. But after we built the super smelter, we smelted tons upon tons of glass to fill the entire floor with glass. It took forever to smelt it, forever to place it, forever to mine it. That thing took forever. After grinding away, placing a bunch of glass, I finally reached the point where a certain parameter of glass was filled, and then I had to decide what was going to be in that last little section. I was going to have something like statues holding the entire thing up, but I'm not that skilled at building, so I just settled for some pillars. They didn't take that long to build and weren't that difficult to make, but I thought they were a cool addition because it was like they were holding up all the different stages of Minecraft. Eventually I finished it, and I decided to add some redstone lanterns to give some variety because it wasn't very well lit and it didn't look that great without them. That was a bit of a monumental occasion because that was the last detail necessary. After that, I made an automatic sugarcane farm kind of deal for all the rockets, and I just kept looking at the whole build because it was so crazy. It took actually like 4 months to build the witch farm and all the things around it. After that, I attempted a pumpkin and melon farm, which actually worked pretty well. I made a lag effective design. I utilized very heavily having my own super smelter because I smelted a ton of sand and a ton of cobblestone to create this monstrous box that just pumps out a bunch of boxes known as pumpkins and melons. After that, I made my own wool farm for whatever reason, and then I made another overworld mob farm because I had one at my original base, and then I made this random carpet contraption because I had a bunch of wool. I'm not really sure why. And then I made a villager trading hall that didn't work until I updated to 1.15.2, and then I built this random thing because I was bored. At that point, I didn't really know what to build, so I was like, I'm gonna build this random globe thing with pillars and a tree in the middle. I kind of improvised as I went along. There was no real plan for it, and I had a ton of resources, so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I decided to build some sort of a castle thing. That was just one of the structures, and I have plans for finishing this thing, but I've only built the 4 castle things. When I was 2 pillars into building the castle, I got a little sidetracked because I wanted diamonds for diamond beacons, which sounds a little crazy. So I built this diamond mine. I even made a YouTube video about it, and it is currently my most viewed YouTube video on my channel. After that, I did a bit more building, but I kind of fell out of love with survival Minecraft at the time, so I kind of stopped playing. I kind of stopped playing Minecraft for a long time after that, actually. If you enjoyed the history lesson on my industrial district, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and your test is on Saturday.